Hello students, welcome back to the class. And today in this class, we are going to discuss about some of the very important questions which are related to the topic diseases. Part 1. Now let us know about the first question under this topic, that is electron beam therapy is a kind of radiation therapy to treat option A, enlarged prostate gland, option B, gallbladder stones, option C, certain types of cancer, and option D, kidney stones. And here the right answer is option C, certain types of cancer. So basically here with the help of electrically charged particles. So here we have electrically charged particles which are generated in a machine called linear accelerator. So now these are the one which are used to treat cancer, different types of cancer here. And one of the most advantages of this therapy, so that it can directly transmit these electrically charged particles directly to the specific site where there is a damaged tissue found, okay, in our body to treat the cancerous cell. Okay, so and after that, once we treat the cancerous cell, as and when we end the procedure here, so immediately, so the electron charged particles which are then transmitted during the procedure here, it falls down to the zero level very rapidly. And this is one of the advantages of this therapy here that can be found while treating cancerous tissues. Move to the next question now. Cobalt-60 isotope is used in the treatment of heart diseases, skin diseases, diabetes, cancer. Okay, here the right answer is option D, cancer. So cobalt-60 isotope is one of a radioactive isotope of cobalt-59. Okay, it is a radioactive isotope which is basically used to treat cancerous tissues in our body. Okay, if there is a presence of cancerous tumors in a body, so to destroy these cancerous tumors, this is one of the radioactive isotope that can be administered during the therapy. Okay, so this one is which is also called as gamma knife therapy, because so here the gamma cells, gamma radiations are the one which are used to treat this disease during the therapy procedure. Okay, next question, which of the following is an anti-diabetic drug? Insulin, penicillin, chloroquine, aspirin. Okay, the right option here is option A, insulin. Okay, basically this insulin is generated naturally in our body by pancreas, right? So this insulin is necessary to manage this glucose metabolism in our body. So now if an individual cannot synthesize this insulin, then he will start suffering from diabetes mellitus disease. So now to treat this disease, usually doctors will administer anti-diabetic drug. So now there's external anti-diabetic drug. So one of such is insulin. Okay, insulin hormone is externally provided to such a person. So now it will start metabolizing the glucose in our blood level. Okay, so this is considered as anti-diabetic drug. But apart from that, penicillin, chloroquine, and aspirin, so all of this does not have any property to match with that of anti-diabetic drug. Moving to the next question. The organ of the human body directly affected by the disease of hepatitis is liver, lungs, heart, brain. Okay, the organ which is directly affected here is option A, liver. Okay, so liver is the right answer. When a person starts suffering from this disease, hepatitis, so during this condition, the liver is the major gland of our body which is directly affected here. So when an individual suffers from this disease, the liver which was affected here, it will start swelling up. There will be inflammation found here because of the inflammatory cells which are found in the tissues of this liver that can cause inflammation of this liver. Okay, move to the next question now. Which one of the following diseases is not caused by virus? Polio, rabies, smallpox, diphtheria. Okay, here the right answer is option D, diphtheria. Basically, diphtheria is one of the diseases which is caused because of the bacteria. And the bacteria, the causative agent of this diphtheria is Corynebacterium diphtheria. Okay, this is a bacteria which can cause a disease called diphtheria in an individual. Okay, it is completely a bacterial diseases. So apart from that, the rest of the options that we have here, that is polio, rabies, and smallpox, all of these are caused because of the viruses, which can rapidly multiply in our body on its own. Okay, the next question now. Of the following, ELISA test is performed to test diabetes, tuberculosis, AIDS, syphilis. Okay, here the right answer is option C, AIDS. Basically, this ELISA test, which is specifically performed to test presence of AIDS in an individual, right? That is, when there is a presence of HIV virus in an individual, usually ELISA test is performed, okay, to confirm that this is one of the primary diagnostic here. So now, when there is a presence of antibodies after the performance ELISA test, if there is a presence of antibodies for the same year, then for the final confirmation stage, confirmation test, here we have Western blotting. Okay, this is one of the tests which is done after ELISA test to confirm the presence of HIV virus, which would have caused AIDS disease in an individual. Okay, basically HIV is the virus which is responsible for the causative agent. Okay, it is one of the causative agent of AIDS. AIDS is nothing but acquired immunodeficiency syndrome here. Okay, so both ELISA test as well as this Western blotting is specifically dedicated for the test of this AIDS. Okay, move to the next question. The radioisotope used to detect blood clots in the circulatory system is arsenic 74, cobalt 60, iodine 131, sodium 24. Okay, the right option is option D, sodium 24. So all the given options here are radioactive isotopes. So out of this radioactive isotope, sodium 24 is the one. It is one of a radioactive isotope which is used to detect blood clots in our circulatory system. Okay, it is used as a radionuclide which is injected to an individual who just to detect whether there is a presence of any blood clots in the circulatory system. Completely in our circulatory system, if there is any blood clot, here sodium 24, when administered, when injected to that person, it helps us to detect the presence of clots. Okay, and here the off-life of sodium 24 is 15.6 hours. So this is one of the reason here sodium 24 can be utilized here directly, so without any side effects, right? Move to the next here, the next point, arsenic 74. It is mainly used to diagnose brain tumors, brain cancers if it is found in an individual. Okay, cobalt 60, it is to treat various types of cancerous cells. Okay, so this cobalt 60 is also known as gamma knife therapy. Whereas this iodine 131, okay, it is one of a radioactive isotope which is used mainly in nuclear fission reactions. Okay, nuclear fission reactions. Now move to the next question. Keeping pigs away from human settlements help in the eradication of malaria, Japanese encephalitis, elephantiasis, polio. Okay, here the right answer is option B, Japanese encephalitis. Okay, so because here the pigs as well as the herons, okay, pigs and herons, these are the animals which are usually the carried there will be a presence of viruses in these animals because they are the potential reservoirs of these viruses. So when we are working nearby these pigs or the herons, usually the virus which are present in their body that can easily enter our body, right? So here the specific virus which usually causes a disease called Japanese encephalitis is that usually belongs to a family called Flaviviridae. Okay, Flaviviridae is one of a family group. So that causes a disease called Japanese encephalitis in an individual. Okay, so here malaria, it's all caused by a protozoan disease where the mosquitoes will become the vectors here. Okay, causative agents. So now, which is basically transmitted from female Anopheles mosquitoes, while the polio is then caused by a virus. Okay, and elephantiasis is caused by the worms. Moving to the next question now. Which one of the following human organ is less susceptible to harmful radiations? Eyes, heart, brain, lungs. Okay, now the right answer is option D, lungs. So when we are looking at all the major organs of our body, out of all of the given options here, lungs are the one which are very least susceptible for harmful radiation, just like the UV radiation. If our body exposed to this UV radiations directly, so most of the part will get damaged. It can also cause skin diseases, skin cancerous, right? Skin cancer. So, but apart from that, here we have one of the organ that is lungs. So lungs are usually very least susceptible for this harmful UV radiation. Okay, but when we get exposed to this UV radiation, so our eyes may get damaged, heart will also get damaged easily, as well as our brain too. Okay, but out of the given option, lungs are the one which are very least susceptible here. Okay, moving to the next question now. Artemisinin, a drug to cure malaria, is obtained from a seed plant, fungus, bacterium, moss. And the right answer is option A, seed plant. Okay, basically from one of a seed plant. So artemisinin, okay, artemisinin. So it is one of a drug which is extracted from the seed of one such plant. Okay, which is basically used as a drug to cure malaria in an individual. Okay, artemisinin is an anti-malarial drug, which is basically Chinese Vietnamese origin. Okay, from this origin, there we will get this seed plant. And here the plant, the seed which is derived from a plant called Artemisia annua. Okay, Artemisia annua is one of a plant. The seeds of these plants are used to extract artemisinin drug. Okay, this drug fights against malarial diseases. Okay, whereas the rest of the options that we have, fungus, bacterium, or the moss here, it does not show any anti-malarial properties. Okay, moving to the next question. The Minamata disease of Japan in 1953 was caused by eating fish contaminated with nickel, lead, mercury, cadmium. Here the right answer is option C, mercury. Okay, here Minamata disease is all because of the presence of mercury in our body. Okay, specifically in Japan, specifically in the year 1953. So most of the people started dying because of this Minamata disease. It's all because they started eating raw fish, which was contaminated of mercury. And this mercury content, if it enters our body, that can cause a disease called Minamata. Okay, so most of the humans, by eating raw fish which was contaminated by methyl mercury, lead, that results in lung infection as well as neurological disorder. So it is basically here in our respiratory infection, respiratory system, as well as the nervous system related to these organ systems in our body. Okay, these are the major organ system which will get disturbed when there is a mercury content in our body. Finally, that leads to a disease called Minamata disease. Okay, so similarly, when we are looking at the rest of it, contamination with cadmium, lead, and nickel. So all of this will result in one of a disease called Ita-Ita. Okay, so if there is a contamination of cadmium, that results in Ita-Ita disease, whereas the lead, okay, if the lead content is more in our body, that leads to lung infection, whereas the nickel content in our body, that leads to allergies in our body. It can be skin allergy or the internal allergy. Okay, moving to the next question. The disease caused by swelling of the membrane over spinal cord and the brain is leukemia, paralysis, sclerosis, meningitis. Okay, now we'll know about the right answer. Option D, meningitis is the right answer. Okay, it is one of it. This is where there will be swelling part, the swollen membrane. So here the membrane, specifically this meningitis, which will usually cover the spinal cord and our brain. Okay, human brain and spinal cord, it's all protected by one of a layer called meningitis, which further consists of 3 more sublayers. Okay, so if there is inflammation here, okay, inflammation or any damage here to the meningitis, that can lead to a disease called meningitis. Okay, this inflammation can be caused because of this entry of the bacteria or the virus or any other such related pathogens. Okay, that can directly lead to the inflammation in this meningitis, that can lead to a disease. Okay, whereas when we are looking at the rest of the option, leukemia is a blood cancer. Okay, blood cancer or bone marrow cancer, whereas sclerosis demyelinating disease, in which the insulating cover, where there will be insulating cover over the nervous cells or in the brain, will get damaged. Okay, paralysis is a muscle coordination, loss in the muscle coordination. Okay, moving to the next question. Emphysema. Okay, emphysema is a disease which is caused by environmental pollution, in which the affected organ of the body is liver, kidney, lungs, brain. Okay, now we'll know about the right answer here. The right answer is option C, lungs. Okay, emphysema. Okay, emphysema is one of a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Clear? Chronic, which is for a longer time. In this condition, when a person starts suffering from this emphysema, here the lungs or the major organ which will get damaged. Here inside the lung, there will be small air sacs that we call it as alveoli, which is necessary for the carbon dioxide and oxygen exchange. The gaseous exchange happens here in alveoli. Specifically, these alveoli are the organs which will get affected. Okay, here in a person who is suffering from this emphysema. So due to this, that can lead to the lack of supply of oxygen to the various parts of our body. Okay, different parts of our body will not get the enough amount of oxygen required for metabolism. Moving to the next question. The mad cow disease is caused by bacteria, viruses, fungus, prions. Okay, here the right answer is option D, prions. Okay, the mad cow disease is a one of a common name here, which is basically caused because of the presence of prions. Okay, the common name of this, okay, this is a common name, and the specific name of this, scientific name of this disease is bovine spongiform encephalopathy. Generally, we call it as BSC, which is nothing but bovine spongiform encephalopathy. And it is very fatal and neurodegenerative disease. Okay, fatal, that means a person with the disease, so they may die. Okay, they might die. And here it is completely neurodegenerative. That is a neurological system that we have. So the nervous system will start slowly degenerating, which we basically term it as encephalopathy. That usually causes, that can be found majorly in the cattle. Okay, cattle, that usually causes a spongy degeneration, specifically in the brain and the spinal cord. That can be found in most of the cattle. So those who will start suffering from mad cow disease. Okay, cow will start acting like this because of the degeneration there in the spongy tissues which are present in the brain and spinal cord. Completely neurological disease. Okay, so the cows which have with this disease, they will not start suffering. They will start behaving very differently, okay, than the normal one. So usually the probable cause of this is the prions. So prions are the one misfolded proteins that can transfer its modified shape onto the normal variants. So because of this reason, it can result in modified structure. That is what we call it as a prions, and that can lead to a disease called mad cow disease. Okay, going to the next question now. Which of the following disease, so which of the following decrease in number in the human body due to dengue fever? Platelets, hemoglobin, sugar, and water. Okay, here the right answer is option A, platelets. Specifically, when a person starts suffering from this dengue fever, here the virus that enters, okay, it is one of a viral attack, primarily that targets on the platelets in a blood. Okay, it is one of a type of blood cells. Usually in the normal person, normal healthy person, this platelet counts ranges from 1,50,000 to 2,50,000 per microliter. So within 1 microliter, there will be presence of 1,50,000 to 2,50,000 platelets. But as and when the person starts suffering from this viral attack, that can cause to that can lead to dengue disease, right? So usually when this virus starts attacking on this platelet, it degenerates these platelets. So slowly the platelet count will start decreasing. It can go up to 50,000 per microliter. Okay, but it goes below 10,000, it can be fatal to that person. They may die. Okay, going to the next question. What is MRI? Magnetic record of intestines, magnetic recording of investigations, magnetic resonance imaging, magnetic resonance in intestines. Okay, the right answer is option C, magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, it is one of the medical imaging technique. You would have heard of this MRI test, right? Basically, they will carry out in diagnostic centers. So basically, imaging technique using the radiations here, radiological technique to study the anatomy as well as the function of diseased as well as the healthy tissues in our body. So if we are carrying out MRI for brain usually, so we will easily identify the damaged tissue as well as the normal tissues there in this MRI imaging technique. Okay, and this is one of the safest medical technique that can be utilized for most of the purpose here. Okay, specifically to recognize the when we have to study about the anatomy of an patient's body. So here there will be no any ionizing rays that are used here in this MRI technique. Okay, it's all completely based on magnetic resonance imaging. Which of the following disease is caused by vitamin B3? Beriberi, night blindness, rickets, pellagra. And the answer is option D, pellagra. Okay, when a person does not consume this vitamin D3 in his diet, okay, if he or she doesn't include this vitamin B3 content in his diet, that can lead to a deficiency disease, and that is called pellagra. Okay, your vitamin B3 is also known as niacin. If it is not included in diet, leads to pellagra. In this condition, the skin becomes, okay, develops different anomalies, which means abnormalities. So there will be different pigmentation to the skin. Okay, that condition we call it as pellagra. Okay, but when we are looking at the rest of the option, vitamin B1 deficiency causes beriberi, and vitamin A deficiency causes night blindness, and vitamin D deficiency causes rickets. Okay. Salk's vaccine is connected with one of the following diseases: smallpox, tetanus, TB, polio. Okay, here the right answer is option D, polio. Okay, Salk's vaccine is known as polio vaccine. Okay, here the two vaccines are used to combat, okay, the disease called poliomyelitis. So to cure this poliomyelitis disease, basically two vaccines which are separately made a combat year to produce for the same polio year. Okay, and here the first being developed, it was all developed by Jonas Salk. Jonas Salk, he was the one who developed this polio vaccine separately. Okay, and here it was first tested in the year 1952, and it was all approved in the year 1955. Okay, basically Salk and Sabin, they have developed two different vaccine for the same poliomyelitis year. So one is from dead virus, and the next one is from the active live virus. So basically here the final succeeded one is John Salk's vaccine, which was tested in 1952, and it was all accepted, and he was the one who have a major role here in eradicating polio disease. The next question: which of the following is a substance available in small quantity in the sea and administered in a certain deficiency disease? Iron, vitamin A, fluorine, iodine. Here the right answer is option D, iodine, right? So iodine is given as a supplement in the common salt. Nowadays, we would have observed the advertisement, right? Basically, when they are advertising for the salt, they will mention that iodized salt, because in the salt that we use now today, so it is all iodized. Iodine content, iodine is one of a mineral which is added to this common salt here, so that it reaches in our diet completely. Okay, so it can be used here to minimize iodine deficiency disorders. Okay, so when we are not including this iodine basically in our diet, that can lead to one of a disease called goiter. So when we are consuming this, it can be prevented. Okay, moving to the next question. Countries where polished rice is the main cereal, in their people suffer from pellagra, beriberi, scurvy, osteomalacia. Okay, here the right answer is option B, beriberi. Okay, in a countries where the people will consume this polished rice continuously, regularly, see, this is a main diet for them, predominant diet here. So in them, usually there is a beriberi disease that can be absorbed. Okay, here because so that can lead to vitamin B1 deficiency, which is also known as thiamine. So when we are not consuming this vitamin B1 in our diet due to the polishing of the cereal, it's all then causes to a disease called beriberi. Okay, it is one of a prolonged problem here. And when we are looking at the rest of the option here, pellagra, it is all caused because of the deficiency of vitamin B3 and scurvy, vitamin C. And then here we have, so osteomalacia. It is all due to vitamin D respectively. Okay, moving to the next question. Accumulation of which one of the following in the muscles leads to fatigue? Lactic acid, benzoic acid, pyruvic acid, uric acid. Okay, yeah, the right answer is option A, lactic acid. Because when we do a continuous, very rigorous exercises, usually our body require more energy, and the oxygen that we are using here while breathing will not be sufficient to provide so much of energy to our body. So now in that situation, usually our muscle cells that we have will convert the pyruvate into lactic acid. So when there is a conversion of pyruvate to lactic acid will get accumulated in the muscle cells, right? Now, when there is a presence of this lactic acid, that is the one which can lead to fatigue, muscle cramps, or the pain in the muscles for that short period of time till the lactic acid is present in our muscles. Okay. The next question, anosmia is loss of sense of taste, loss of sense of smell, loss of sense of touch, and loss of sense of heat. So here the right answer is option B, loss of sense of smell. Okay. In a case, a person, if they are suffering from this anosmia, okay, usually the olfactory receptor cells are directly affected. Olfactory receptors are present in our nasal cavity. Okay. Usually that is the one which is necessary to detect, to sense the smell in an individual. But when there is a defect here in the olfactory receptor cells, usually a person will start losing the ability to know the smell. They will not even get to know the odor here to the normal extent. Okay, and here we can relate this with two more terms called hyposmia and hyperosmia. So in the case of hyposmia, usually the person will have a decreased ability to smell. Okay, very less ability to smell, to know the smell here. But in case of hyperosmia, so usually the person will have increased ability to smell. So they will even get to know very slight changes in the smell here. Okay, in a person who has this hyperosmia. The next question, AIDS is caused by bacteria, fungus, helminth, virus. Okay, here the right answer is option D, virus. As we discussed that in the previous question, AIDS. Here the full form of this AIDS is nothing but acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Okay, it is one of a syndrome here, which is all caused because of a virus called HIV. Okay, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome is the one of a syndrome which is chronic, that is for lifetime, usually for longer period of time if a person starts suffering from this AIDS. And it is one of the life-threatening condition because it suppresses our immunity system that can lead to attack of the various diseases that can damage multiple organs in an individual, that finally leads to death of an individual. Okay, so here the AIDS is all caused because of the presence of HIV virus in an individual. If this human immunodeficiency virus enters an individual, that can cause a disease called AIDS. Okay, it is a viral disease. Moving to the next question. DMT testing is done to diagnose dengue, malaria, osteoporosis, AIDS. And here the right answer is option C, osteoporosis. So which is all related to the bones that we have. Okay, BMD testing, which is nothing but bone mineral density testing. Okay, bone mineral density testing, the amount of minerals present in our bone. To detect this, usually a person will undergo BMD testing. Okay, basically we know that if you should have the stronger bones, there we require this one of the important mineral called calcium. Along with even phosphorus is also necessary to have the stronger bones. To know the calcium content and rest of the minerals in our bone, usually we have to undergo BMD test. Okay, so here osteoporosis is one of a disease which is related to bones, and this can be detected with the help of this BMD testing. Okay, usually when we are looking at the rest of the option here, dengue. Dengue is tested by counting the number of platelets in an individual's blood. Okay, and here malaria is tested, so using a smear test. Okay, this is one of the procedure that can be carried out to test this malaria. And AIDS is all tested by a process called ELISA test, which is then followed by Western blotting. Next question. Pneumoconiosis afflicts the workers who work mainly in tanneries, coal mines, distilleries, glass industry. Okay, here the right answer is option B, coal mines. Specifically, it is occupational disease. Okay, because when a person starts suffering, okay, when a person starts suffering from this disease, that is pneumoconiosis, it's all because they usually inhale the polluted air. Okay, here when they are working here in the coal mines, specifically here in the coal mines, they will start inhaling the same polluted air. The dust will also enter their body, the lungs there. So the lungs are the major organ which will get damaged here in this disease called pneumoconiosis. Okay, so by this we can say it is completely related to the occupation that we carry out, occupational lung disease. Okay, basically the workers who are working here in this coal mines, they are the one who are more susceptible for this disease called pneumoconiosis. Okay, tanneries, they are the one who will work in usually the leather industry, distilleries, so the distilled waters, and then glass industry. Okay, so here out of all the given options, here in coal mines, the person who are working here, they will suffer from pneumoconiosis. There are more chances here. The next question, foot and mouth disease in animals. A current epidemic in some parts of the world is caused by bacterium, fungus, protozoan, virus. And the right answer is option D, virus. Here the virus are the one which can cause foot and mouth disease in animals. Basically, the cattle are the one who are more susceptible for this virus. If this virus specifically, if it enters cattle body, then the cattle will start suffering from this foot and mouth disease. Okay, specifically here in the year that is around 2010 to 2011. Okay, in between this time period, the countries such as Japan, Korea, Bulgaria, so these are the countries where the cattle living here in these countries, they got infected by this foot and mouth disease. Okay, it is one of a viral disease. The next question, athlete's foot is a disease which is caused by bacteria, fungus, protozoan, nematode. And here the right answer is option B, fungus. Okay, basically for foot and mouth and foot disease, there the causative agent is virus. But for athlete's disease, here the causative agent is fungus. Okay, so your athlete disease is all caused by a fungus. And this fungus is a parasitic one which belongs to a genus called Trichophyton. Okay, so the genus Trichophyton, the fungus which belongs to this genus that can cause a disease called athlete's foot. So now an individual who is suffering from this athlete's foot, they will usually experience scaling, flaking, as well as itching in the affected area. Okay, these are the symptoms that can be observed. So usually the affected area will include the toes. In between the toes, usually the skin will start itching, then scaling, then it can be flaking also. It's all because when an individual starts sweating there by wearing very tight shoes, usually the fungal will get, the quantity of the fungal will start increasing. That can lead to all these different symptoms. And usually when the person, they are walking barefoot, so this is one of a transmitted communicable disease. So this fungus, if it enters a normal, new, healthy individual one, it can also start infecting the same to the new individual. Okay, so here, so it is one of a transmittable disease. So the next question, which one of the following genetic disease is sex-linked? Hemophilia, Tay-Sachs disease, cystic fibrosis, hypertension. And here the right answer is option B, Tay-Sachs disease. Okay, here Tay-Sachs disease is one of the very rare inherited disorder, genetically inherited disorder, which is related to sex-linked, sex chromosomes, which are inherited from the parents to an offspring. Okay, here basically when a person starts suffering from this Tay-Sachs disease, usually the nerve cells are the one which are mainly affected. Okay, the nerve cells which are present in the brain as well as the spinal cord are the one which are affected. Okay, usually that can lead to mental disorder there. Okay, now the next question here we have, hemophilia is a genetic disorder which leads to decrease in hemoglobin level, rheumatic heart disease, decrease in WBC, non-clotting of blood. And the right answer here is option D, non-clotting of blood. So here too, when we were discussing about the previous question, Tay-Sachs disease is one of a sex-linked, right? So your sex-linked hereditary disorder, right? Induced inherited disorder. Similarly here, hemophilia is also one of a genetic disorder. Okay, it is which is completely related to non-clotting of the blood. When a person starts suffering from this disease, hemophilia, usually the clotting of the blood is completely delayed. Okay, very abnormally delayed. It will not get clotted as in the case of the normal beings. So when there is an accident or the cut in any of the body of the part of, okay, any part of our body, usually the blood will start flowing down. And here a person, if they are suffering from this hemophilia, usually the blood flow will not be clotted immediately. It takes very longer period of time, and the person will also start, in the meanwhile, he will start losing most of the quantity of the blood. Okay, it will not usually stop here in an expected person. Now the next question, which of the following vitamin is effective in blood clotting? Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, and vitamin K. Okay, here the right answer is option D, vitamin K. Basically, this vitamin K has a major role in blood cloning in human beings. Okay, if there is any accidental cut, so usually the blood will start flowing out. Definitely our body has to start clotting here at the specific site. And during this clotting process here, vitamin K is also one which has a precursor level, the role of precursing, initiating the clotting process. Okay, out of the 3 different forms of vitamin K here, vitamin K1, or which we also call it as piloquinone. So this is the one, okay, out of the different forms of vitamin K1, which we also call it as piloquinone, is the one majorly responsible for blood clotting process. Okay, basically we will get it in all the green vegetables, green leafy vegetables and the green vegetables, the rest of the vegetables, there we have this vitamin K content. So this is how we can include the same in our diet. So now when there is a deficiency of vitamin A that leads to night blindness, and vitamin B that leads to a disease called beriberi, and vitamin C leads to a disease called scurvy. The next question, according to the World Health Organization, the disease which caused the death of the large number of people in 2011 was AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, ischemic heart diseases. So here the right answer is option D, ischemic heart diseases. Okay, according to the data updated in the year 2013, specifically it was all happened in 2011. Okay, most of the people lost their life because of this ischemic heart diseases. But later, after 2 years, that is in the year 2013, WHO, World Health Organization, reported that it has provided us the data that so most of the people nowadays, so during that year, okay, that is specifically in the year 2013, so most of the people started suffering and they lost their life because of this ischemic heart diseases. Okay, sudden related heart diseases here, stroke and also lower respiratory infection, chronic obstructive lung disease, diarrhea, HIV or the AIDS. All of these are the diseases which are in top 10 list. So out of this top 10 list, there we can see that tuberculosis is not in top 10 list, but it is still there in top 15 list. When we are counting the top 15 list, tuberculosis is also one included, but not in top 10. Okay, but here in the top 10 disease, all these are the major reasons for the people who will lose their life. Okay, because of these diseases, many of the people started losing their life. Okay. Now the next question, which one of the following antimicrobial drugs is suitable for the treatment of both the tuberculosis and leprosy? Isoniazid, P-aminosalicylic acid, streptomycin, rifampicin. And here the right answer is option D, rifampicin. Okay, here rifampicin is one of an antibiotic drug. Okay, which is used and administered against this Mycobacterium species. So specifically these Mycobacterium species are the one which will usually cause a disease called tuberculosis and leprosy. To fight against this disease, to fight against these bacterial species, rifampicin is one of the antibiotic drug administered to that specific individual. Okay, moving to the next question. And the last question here, which of the following diseases caused by protozoa? Malaria, cholera, jaundice, none of this. And here the right answer is option A, malaria. Okay, malaria is all caused because of a protozoans. Okay, protozoans are the one which will cause malarial disease, and here the mosquitoes are the one which will act as a vector to carry this viruses. Okay, so protozoan species, specifically the protozoan species, Plasmodium are the one which will cause this malaria disease. Basically, they are carried by a vector called mosquitoes. So your malaria is carried by female Anopheles mosquito. That is the one which is a causative agent. Okay, it is a vector which will carry this Plasmodium vivax. That is a protozoa. Okay, and that is the one which will cause malarial disease. So whereas the cholera, okay, cholera, it is all caused by Vibrio cholerae. Okay, Vibrio cholerae, it is a causative agent of this disease called cholera that enters an individual's body when they have a contaminated food or the water. Through the water and the food, cholera can be caused in an individual. And jaundice, it is one of a condition where there will be increased amount of bilirubin pigment in the blood. Okay, if the level of this bilirubin increases in the blood, that can lead to a disease called jaundice. Okay, yes. So students, in this class, we have discussed about the major important questions here in this topic called diseases, right? I hope it's all understood to you, and thank you for attending the class.